Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into the SAP Cloud Integration ecosystem to demystify a tool that is absolutely crucial for developers, the Content Modifier. Think of it as a surgical scalpel for your data. If you've ever needed to seamlessly dissect and manipulate data while it's in transit between systems, you are definitely in the right place. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll be looking at the vast integration landscape, meet the Content Modifier, the 3 data containers, targeting data with XPath, the header size trap, and finally, cleaning up outbound messages. Let's get to it.
Section 1. The vast integration landscape. Let's contextualize SAP Cloud Integration.
So just look at the sheer scale of the SAP Cloud Integration environment for a second. Whether you're operating in Cloud Foundry, Neo, or Kaima, you're managing this massive web of connections. You're dealing with JDBC for databases, Kafka for event streaming, OData for RESTful APIs, plus Salesforce and SFTP. It's a lot, right? With all these different systems talking to each other, precise data manipulation isn't just a nice to have, it's absolutely essential. You have to be able to translate and augment that data seamlessly on the fly as it moves from sender to receiver. Moving on to Section 2, meet the Content Modifier, your surgical data tool. To handle all that complex data manipulation, we have to zoom way down into a single integration flow, and right at the core, we find the Content Modifier. By definition, this is a step used to modify the content of an incoming message by providing additional info in the header or the body. Basically, it's your go-to tool to actively reshape a message as it moves. When a message hits this exact step, you have the absolute power to change it before it continues its journey. All right, Section 3, the 3 data containers. Let's break down the actual anatomy of a message. What's really fascinating here is how the Content Modifier categorizes the information it touches. It uses 3 distinct containers. First, you've got the message header, which carries all that vital metadata. Next is the message body. That's your actual payload, the core content you can edit directly. And third, the exchange property, which acts kind of like a temporary variable storage for the integration process itself. Grasping how these 3 containers exist side by side? That is your key to mastering message manipulation. Now, pay attention to this crucial distinction because it trips up a lot of people. Data written to the message header becomes part of the outbound message. However, properties remain within the integration flow. What does that actually mean for us? It means headers literally leave the system and go to the receiver, while exchange properties stay strictly internal. So if the final destination needs to see the data, put it in the header or body. But if you just need to remember a value to make a routing decision later, use an exchange property. Honestly, mixing these 2 up is a classic source of frustration, so definitely keep that rule in mind. Section 4. Targeting data with XPath for dynamic data access. So how do we actually pull specific data into those containers dynamically? Well, you don't just have to type in static text. If you set the source type to XPath, you can dynamically address and extract very specific elements from an incoming message. Think of it like a highly targeted search. Your Content Modifier acts like a smart filter, reaching deep into a complex XML structure, grabbing exactly the variable you need, say a customer ID or a transaction amount, and saving it right into your header or property for the next step. It's incredibly precise. Which brings us to Section 5, the header size trap, a critical architectural risk. Now, because we just established that headers actually leave the system with the outbound message, we have to ask ourselves a pretty terrifying question. What happens if your outbound HTTP message header becomes too large? Like, what if a developer accidentally packs way too much data into it? Well, the answer lies in a hard technical limit. HTTP-based receiver adapters typically only accept header sizes between 4 and 16 kilobytes. Let me put that into perspective for a second. 16 kilobytes is incredibly small. We're talking smaller than a plain text email or a tiny thumbnail image. It is shockingly easy to blow right past that limit if you're writing verbose logs, giant tokens, or complex metadata into your headers during the flow. And the consequences of doing that are pretty severe. If the message header exceeds this HTTP-based receiver limit, the receiver will straight up reject the inbound call, breaking the integration entirely. This isn't just a minor hiccup, it is a mission-critical failure waiting to happen. Imagine spending hours debugging a dropped payload, only to realize the payload was perfectly fine, but the invisible metadata envelope it was shipped in was just way too heavy. Yeah, no thanks. So let's fix it. Section 6, cleaning up outbound messages, the best practice solution. How do we protect our data flows from hitting that wall? The absolute gold standard best practice here is a 3-step cleanup. Step 1, modify content. So you use your initial content modifier to add whatever data you need for internal routing. Step 2, process the message internally just like normal. And step 3, this is the crucial one, delete unnecessary headers via a second content modifier. Right before the message leaves the system, you set up a second modifier on a search and destroy mission to strip away all the headers that shouldn't be handed over. This deliberately strips away the excess metadata and guarantees your header size stays well within those safe limits. As we wrap up this explainer, I want you to look at your own setups and ask yourself, are hidden, oversized data headers quietly threatening to break your next critical system integration? The content modifier is a seriously powerful tool, but you've got to be a mindful custodian of your data. Check those outbound adapters, set up that cleanup modifier, and keep your data flowing safely. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I'll catch you in the next one.